What's going on YouTube? It's your host Bruce GNT, and we are here to talk about defunding the police and what that entails and what could be coming to a city near you. No, I'm just kidding. In this case, I'm more so doing this for the New Yorkers out there so you could kind of get a glimpse of what it could be, because there's a city in Vermont that tried it out and it didn't turn out well for them. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right in and we're going to talk about it.
Our Brian Ensign back out on the road. Speaking of law enforcement, Burlington, Vermont is part of his Driving the Vote series. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Blake. Yeah, it's interesting. Pretty much everywhere we've gone around the country, crime is something that comes up. People wanting to feel safe, concerned in their neighborhoods. You heard so much about defunding the police for so long, but there were only a couple of cities that actually did it and defunded their police departments, and Burlington, Vermont is one of those cities. So we went there to see what it's like now. The leaves are changing, and it's a popular time of year to visit Burlington, Vermont. Are you Mark?
I am.
Hey, I'm Brian.
Hey, Brian.
But a closer look downtown reveals a troubled side of the once idyllic college town.
These things have always been present, of course, homelessness and drug addiction and mental health issues, but they seem to be going unchecked now in any way.
Unchecked because the city is down 30-plus officers on what's supposed to be a 90-officer force. Burlington defunded the police back in 2020 and focused more on social workers. And business owner Mark Bouchette says problems only got worse. Now the city's trying to reverse course and hire back officers, but the officers don't want to come back.
Is this like a Democrat-Republican issue? What's going on here?
And in Vermont, it's not a Democrat-Republican issue. It could be a Democrat-progressive issue. But there are no Republicans to speak of here. And
so do the progressives just not want police, or like what?
I'm hard-pressed to impugn their motives, right? Like, I think there is a strain of folks who truly believe that in a perfect world, police aren't necessary. And maybe in a perfect world they're not, but that's not the world I inhabit.
So these are
I wonder about those people that have like this really idealistic way of looking at the world. It's like, I used to always think those people just never knew strife. They never knew what it was to like struggle, because you mean to tell me you really can't see how badly it can get when there's no police officers? Like, don't get me wrong. The people in New York, especially in certain areas, we have our opinions about police officers. But we know damn well if they didn't exist, it would not go well for us. It would be pretty terrible. Like, it would be lawlessness. It would not end well. So I'm just confused as to like where these people's minds are at. And I would love for them to probably do like, I don't know, a segment where they find people and they can just talk to them and figure that out. And me, myself too, I would love to meet these people and ask them, what exactly do you think and how would you solve these issues? Because it's all cool, but when you don't feel safe, when you lay your head down, that's never a good feeling. Trust me, it is not. No one wants to live like that. No one wants to worry about stepping outside their door and not being able to walk back and meet their family. No one does. But when it comes to the police not wanting to come back, I don't blame them. That city and its officials and its constituents and everything like that showed that they don't care and or value the police officers there because they cut their funding, or they made things so difficult that the police officers had to leave. Because when you cut down on the police force, right, you make it more difficult for everyone else to do their job. Now, where someone probably had to do maybe like a 10-hour shift, they had to extend that out a little bit more because they had to cover the ground that someone else would have covered because they're no longer there. So now these people are leaving. And now they're saying, I'm not coming back because you made this mess and now you want us to help you clean it up. Hell no. Hell no. And then not only that, you don't truly have our backs. You just want us back because shit is getting difficult. That's the only reason you want us back. So I don't blame the police officers. It's sad. It's sad that there's people there that are going to have to suffer. And honestly, it's sad that, police officers really had to just give up their passion and or just quit and move somewhere else because they couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, I did a video where they were talking about the police shortages in New York, and there was a guy basically talking about, hey, look, he moved to a different part. I think he's in Jersey now, I believe, and less stressful. Yeah, he was getting overtime back then, but before it was terrible for him, and he said it too. I don't think people realize that.
Meta glasses, they have a little camera on the front. I'm going to put them on, record, and walk around Burlington and check it out. The first thing I noticed was a lot of graffiti all over downtown.
Oh, that's interesting.
And homeless people in the parks and alleys.
Oh, man. There's a needle right there. So this is a needle drop box
where you can actually drop your needles.
The social work aspect,
Can you imagine a world where apparently the war on drugs just disappeared? Like, we don't do that anymore. Like, we don't give a fuck about that. You just have drop boxes for needles. Instead of combating that and trying to help these people, you're giving them like an easy, I just use this needle. Let me drop it off over here. Like, I don't know. Like, I see this and it's just insane to me because it's like, why are we promoting this? It doesn't make any sense.
sounds really nice in social workers, but is it working? Just because when you walk around it doesn't look so good in some areas.
Yeah, certainly. So I think this is being a defund city. This is a bit of a live experiment as well. So in the city, a decision was made to invest more with social service providers that are based with the police department and less on police officers over time. But that signal to the police staff at the time caused them to leave in droves.
After the defunding, everything changed.
This is one of the officers who left Burlington. We're hiding his face because he still works in law enforcement in Vermont.
I think a lot of people think that the defund the police movement is over and don't realize that there are still all of these effects of it that are almost just as bad as when it happened.
Yes. Maybe only having 2 or 3 officers on a shift when you should have 7 or 8, you have no time to address that. It becomes, is someone dead or dying? And, you go from there first. And then if you have any spare time, it's just trying to catch up on paperwork and that kind of stuff. And there's no time. When I was there, it was a borderline nightmare.
It was disturbing, Blake, talking to the business owners there. If they call the police just don't come because they don't have enough police, and they're trying to hire the officers back, realizing that their experiment didn't really work, but none of the cops want to come back because they don't feel valued there anymore. Blake?
Such an important story. You're right, it's fascinating. They want the officers, they can't find them. Remarkable. Our Brian Enton.
I wouldn't want to be a police officer in a town like that. Why would I want to do that? And deal with all that bullshit? Hell no. Deal with what? A city that doesn't really want me there, but they just want me to clean up the mess? No. You can't have it both ways. It's not how that works. And to speak about, I guess what the guy had said earlier when he was saying, there's no Republicans or anything like that in Vermont. That's kind of sad because I've talked about it before. Extremes are never good on left or right. They're not good. But you're telling me that the idea of a Republican in Vermont is just non-existent, and I don't think this is not a good thing. I'll be saying the same thing if it was a Republican city too, because no. I'm just confused as to how no one's looking at this and going, you know what, maybe something should change. Maybe we should do something a little bit different because we want different results. The petty side of me is honestly like, nope, sit there and burn. Sit there and burn. This is what you wanted. This is what you advocated for. You gotta reap what you sow. It is what it is. I don't understand, and like I said earlier, I really want to get into the mind or at least have a conversation with someone that feels like this is the right way forward. To invest in social workers as opposed to police officers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we shouldn't have any social workers at all. But God forbid if someone's pointing a gun at me, a knife at me, or threatening to harm someone I care for or my business, I don't want a social worker to show up with a pen and a clipboard. I need someone to show up with some firepower. I need someone to show up with some type of intimidating factor to make them stand down, or at the very least, scramble with them and then, get some shit done. That's what I want. Because that's how you have a declining city. That's how you have a declining state. When people don't feel safe, if people don't feel like they can't lay their head down and feel like they can, wake up the next day and have their property still there, not be vandalized and not get attacked as soon as they leave their door, they're going to leave. People leaving leads to cities declining, states declining, less money, and then what does it turn into? Trash. My main point of bringing this up, right, is because Zohran Mamdani has kind of mirrored some ideas, right, in relation to not so much defunding the police, but just adding more money to social services and social workers and everything like that, which in turn would lead to something similar to this. Because if you pay attention to what that cop said, it wasn't so much that they defunded the police, they just allocated more money over there, and the police officers had more strain and had more responsibilities, and it was harder on them, especially with such a small police force, that they started leaving. hence the kind of the funding. You know what I'm saying? So take this as a warning. If you want your city to look like that, to the point where people are begging for the police to come back because, you know, things are pretty uncomfortable. Look, it's already too late. You know, Zohran Mamdani already says he wants to do certain things, which is cool. And sadly, the people that live there that I care about in New York are gonna have to suffer. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad, but look, you made your bed, it looked comfortable, so guess what? Now you got to lie in it. Well, you guys, that's it for this video. You already know the drill. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment down below, tell me your thoughts. How do you feel about the whole idea of defunding the police? You know, this is a free space. I will make fun of you politely, but I'm still interested in what you have to say, because I mean, I value what you have to say. I'm interested in really understanding your whole mindset when it comes to this, because you do know we don't live in a perfect world. And yes, I'm not saying police officers are perfect and they don't make mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that rather have them here than not and deal with certain shit like that. I'm just saying. I've been to places where the police officers are either non-existent or they come slow, and you don't want to live that life. It's not fun. Trust me. But that's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.